Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Beretta 9mm USA here, and I am excited about this one. I hope you guys like it too. We have two very fine pistols right here. It is an apple to oranges like comparison, so just go ahead and accept that as the premise of this video. This is a very nice Dan Wesson Vigil full-size 1911 versus a SIG Sauer P220 Legion. Both of these pistols, fantastic. That full comparison video is coming up next. Just letting up the trigger just a little bit, getting that reset, and going for the next round. Pretty nice. Recoil is very manageable. How about some 45 V crown from SIG Sauer? And I'm finding with this 220 Legion that I cannot release the slide, so it's slingshot. All right, let's talk about the overall quality. Let's go ahead and start with the Dan Wesson. This Dan Wesson, like all Dan Wessons, is a Series 70 1911. So for you purists out there that really like the Series 70, this is just like the other Dan Wessons. You've got your Series 70 right here. You asked for it, Dan Wesson gave it to you. This is a steel over aluminum frame on this Vigil. And yes, it is a full-size or a government-size 1911. This is considered a production gun, just like the SIG Legion right here. These are production guns. They don't go to some specialty shop to get a complete workover or anything like that. This is the top quality stuff that they make at a production level. So that's what you have here in this Vigil. Also with this P220 Legion series pistol from SIG Sauer. Absolutely gorgeous. In this SIG colored, in this Legion gray colored. Very nice. Both pistols have excellent slide to frame fit. You're going to notice there's no movement. I mean, it is rock solid. There's no movement anywhere. Just a very nice example of SIG's Legion quality on this 220. Let's look at the frame fit on the 1911. A little bit more of a gap than I'm used to in most Dan Wessons. So here I am with one that I purchased, and it's not absolutely perfect, but as far as movement, there isn't any. Just a hair. And barrel is very tight. So again, even though it's not absolutely perfect in the back, which, hey, we're gonna show it what it is, right? That's what we do. We go ahead and take a good look at these handguns and point out any deficiencies.
Brett, so you show your Vigil Commander and like how it's fit compared to this full size.
So on the right is my Vigil Commander, which is my EDC handgun, the dirty one. And on the left is the brand new full-size government Vigil. You can just tell there's just a little bit of a difference in fit in the back.
Also notice the rusty hammer on the Commander gun.
You can see some of the rust on the hammer. It is something that we are dealing with.
And what we've noticed is traditionally on most of these style hammers, like on the Vigil pistols here, this style of Dan Wesson hammer has a very high capability of rusting. You know, my specialist, Beretta Senior Specialist, the Point Mans, all have slight amounts of rust on them. So that's just something to mention here. It's kind of important to mention because, again, it talks about overall quality. If you're not wanting to have a rust problem on a Dan Wesson 1911, you want to buy one of their 1911 pistols that has an even more tactical style hammer that is in the duty finish.
That's true, because the duty finish is an excellent finish and it prevents any rust from happening. That is also our experience from owning 7 or 8 Dan Wessons now. So we want to be totally upfront and let you guys know that it is something that we have been dealing with. It is something that is prone to several models of the Dan Wessons, pretty much any of them that don't have some type of a finish on the hammer.
Yeah.
So if it looks like this, like just bare metal, then those are the ones you got to watch out for. And, you know, I clean my guns pretty religiously and we keep them in a great safe and dehumidifier and everything else. It doesn't seem to make any difference. So the way I'm looking at it is this: I'm going to do the best I can with it while I have it. And then if I decide to keep them long term, 15, 20 years or whatever, I'll probably send them someplace and maybe have the hammers replaced to something else, a Wilson Combat or something like that.
All right, guys, continue to talk about overall quality here after talking about the rusty hammer or rust gate, whatever you want to call it. Both of these pistols have very well machined, forged aluminum alloy frames here. You can see just how beautiful it is on the Dan Wesson. Same on the SIG Legion pistol here. Unlike your lesser end 1911 pistols that feature an aluminum alloy frame, this pistol does have a fully protected aluminum alloy frame because Dan Wesson pistols in the Vigil line have a fully ramped barrel that protects the aluminum alloy frame. So you won't get any excessive wear over time of use using this very high-end firearm right here.
Young Beretta was just talking about both of the frames. One thing I did want to mention, when I took the Dan Wesson completely down, I did notice it has a fully supported chamber area. The whole part of the barrel is supported on this aluminum alloy frame. So I think that is what gets you the long life in an aluminum framed 1911. So I did want to throw that out there for those of you that own them already and have taken them down. You know exactly what I'm talking about. For those that don't have any experience with that or don't know anything about aluminum alloy frames, you want to give them some more support where the round goes into the barrel to make sure there's no excessive wear at that point. And this 1911 and this line of 1911s has that feature. I think that's important to say.
The ammo is supplied by Elite Performance Ammunition from SIG Sauer. This is their 45 ACP ammo, 230 grain, traveling at 850 feet per second and 369 foot-pounds.
Okay, I can tell you right now, the SIG 220 Legion, a little bit less muzzle flip. This thing is definitely flipping up a little bit more when you're comparing a 1911 to the SIG. I did a lot of shooting single-handed with the SIG. Let's see how this looks. Okay. Hitting really good with it. It's very accurate, this full-size Vigil, but definitely the light aluminum alloy frame here, you've got a little bit more muzzle flip going on with this 1911 than you do with the SIG 220 Legion. That's noticeable right away. I think there's a little bit more felt recoil with this also. Today's video is sponsored by Core Essentials. Core Essentials makes one of the best gun belts on the market today. I've been using their gun belt products since 2016. I thoroughly believe in their belt products, and that's why we are excited to work with them now. I'm currently using the new tactical reinforced nylon belt from Core Essentials. The nylon webbing outer layer is rated up to 500 pounds. It is a very strong belt. The reinforced power core center and superfiber inner lining make this unique belt durable and stiff enough to support small to medium to even larger handguns. The belt itself is rated up to 8 pounds maximum. Of course, I am exceeding that with my duty belt setup here. This is what the belt looks like while wearing my duty belt over top of it. And guys, here's the core belt being used inside of a full duty belt. So it's strong enough to support that. It's definitely strong enough to support your CCW firearm. So now let's cover the belts and go over the system and the buckles themselves. All of Core's belts are 800% more adjustable than your old traditional belts. These trackline belts have over 40 sizing positions to choose from. You just pull the extra belt material through the buckle and you get that precise fit. You can press the belt buckle's quick release tab to loosen the belt. These features make it very easy to find that perfect fit, no matter what your size. The adjustments in the belt's track is made every 1/4 of an inch.
making it very versatile indeed. My current setup is running the X4 stainless steel buckle and a tactical reinforced gun belt. The whole package goes for a little bit less than $63 after you use the discount code B9USA. That's a real value and a good product that I have tested over time, and I highly recommend it to you guys. So here's the two different color belts that are available from Core Essentials. As far as taking your gun on or off as a concealed carry person, right underneath here is the release. And it's that easy. Very strong belt. Putting it back on. And this excellent leather holster right here. And that's right, guys, I've switched over to the Dan Wesson for a concealed carry handgun. Feed it through the belt buckle. And then just grab it from this end here and pull. And you're good to go. There is no slag in this belt. It holds it really tight to your hip right here. As you can see, it sucks this 1911 up right up against my hip. This is not a light overall package right here. And the belt does an excellent job. If you do place your order, guys, make sure you use the B9USA discount code and save 10% off your entire order.
Both of the slides on both handguns, the slide itself, are from solid pieces of stainless steel. So, very high quality on both handguns. Again, no skimping on quality on the makes of these pistols. Yes, they are more expensive, but you get what you pay for. I think you get more than what you pay for in these regards after you look at some stuff that's custom out there and how much they're charging for custom handguns. These are a little bit more expensive, but I think they're worth every dollar that you pay for them. The SIG Legion here is coated in a durable PVD Legion gray finish, and my understanding is that finish has been holding up better and better in the pistols that have been made the last couple of years. So that's also good news for those of you that want to either daily carry CCW or whatever this firearm. You won't be having as much of the finish wear off. So it's good to hear that the finish is holding up a little bit better on the SIGs. And as far as the duty coat finish here on Dan Wesson, it has been excellent for us. We have owned several of the pistols with the duty coat finish, and it is doing terrific. So don't be shy about the Vigil series.
And again, you've been carrying your Commander for multiple months. Show them that and how it's holding up.
Yeah, every once in a while I need to wipe off pieces of the leather holster off it, but as far as the finish itself, the finish is fantastic. And even though it looks like it might have some wear on it and stuff like that, usually when you brush it off or wipe it off, it's pieces of the holster or some grime that comes off. The finish itself is doing terrific. Here's an example right here. So it's doing great. No issues.
It's kind of sweet.
SIG V Crown 45 ACP right here. Again, slingshot this thing.
Let's talk about the safeties on both of these handguns. As far as the SIG is concerned, if you're in the firing position like this, you decide to stop for any reason whatsoever, here's your safety. It's a decocker. You decock it into double action and go ahead and holster. That is the safe position for this handgun. It does not have any other safeties in its way. The advantage to that is if you need to draw the pistol back out and go to work, you don't have any safety to worry about. You pull it out, you're in double action, you immediately start firing rounds. It's a terrific system, one that has been loved by military and police alike, and also civilians throughout the country. absolutely love the SIG P Series pistols. As far as the Dan Wesson is concerned, traditional 1911, right? You're right here in condition 1, you're in the firing position, you decide you don't want to fire or you're done shooting, take your thumb, sweep up. A very positive click right there puts this pistol into safe. You cannot fire the trigger. And of course, you've got the 1911 beaver tail safety right here. So without engaging this, if I take this off, for those of you that don't know, and I go to pull the trigger, it's not going to go. You have to have your hand full up into the handgun, taking this safety off, you're squeezing it. As you grab it, now when you pull the trigger, the pistol goes off.
And talking about the beaver tail, show how well fit the beaver tail safety is into the frame itself. This is the attention to detail you get on a high-end production gun.
Just fantastic fit right here. That is the difference between Dan Wesson's and many other production type 1911s. It's that attention to detail.
No side-to-side movement, right?
None.
Yeah.
It's that attention to detail that makes the Dan Wesson stick out. The safety, another thing. I mean, there's no mistaking that. Very positive on. Flip it back down if you want to fire the pistol. There's just no missing it. Top quality. This one's for right-handers only, guys. Lefties are going to have to make the transition to taking that safety on or off.
Go.
Dan Wesson magazine. Thing's accurate, man. It just shoots really good. Let me try to take one off the top. Maybe this old magazine will work now. We're gonna have to replace some of these mags. That was a trick.
All right, guys, so we just talked about the Dan Wesson pretty much in detail about all its controls and stuff. Let's go ahead and hit up on the SIG here. This SIG Legion 220 and its controls. You notice here that they are smaller than your regular old P Series pistols. And what that does is it allows me to shoot the pistol in my thumb's forward grip here without activating accidentally any of the controls. So when the pistol runs dry, it locks back correctly. On the old series, I have a tendency to hold too close, activating the slide stop, and so the slide goes forward. I think I still have rounds, and then I go click, and I don't have any rounds. I need to reload. So the SIG Legion series has solved that issue for me. I know some people would rather them be the old controls. I like the smaller controls, and there's a reason why. With that in mind, what we did find in the field was when the pistol was empty and locked back correctly, we'd put our magazine in of full rounds. And if you're one of those guys that likes to reach up and hit the slide release right here with your thumb, you're not going to do it. Not from a shooting position. So gross motor skills, hand over, and let it fly. Or I think I miscalled it when I was doing it at the range. This would be your slingshot. You can slingshot it forward and let it fly. Either way, that's how you're going to reload it. Either hand over or slingshot. One or the other.
This gun shoots as good as any top-end 1911, I swear.
It's a shooter, man. It's a good shooter. Another winner by SIG as far as the SIG Legion is concerned.
Alright, continue to talk about these aluminum alloy frames here. Both pistols do feature front strap checkering on the front of their aluminum frames. You can see that it is 25 lines per inch front strap checkering on the 1911, and the SIG Legion has a good amount of checkering there too, with an X5 undercut on the SIG Legion pistol. Nice undercut back here too. The rear mainspring housing has a 20 lines per inch metal mainspring housing on the Dan Wesson, and both pistols do have G10 style grips on them. This Dan Wesson does come with wood grip stock, where these G10 grips on the SIG Legion are stock, with the Legion medallion inlaid into the grips. These grips on the Dan Wesson Vigil are bogey LOK Grips. There's a solo video out on this if you want to go check that out. Two other things I did miss on the 220 Legion here as far as talking about the aluminum alloy frame. You do have extra checkering on the front of the trigger guard and right here for your support hand as far as to get some traction to reduce the amount of perceived recoil or muzzle flip. You also do have a full Picatinny rail here, 3 slaughter, to be able to mount, lights, lasers, chainsaws, whatever you're feeling like. Let's see how this shoots. Perfect so far. E-Lander magazine. Real quick here, let's talk about the weight of these pistols. The SIG P220 Legion comes in at a weight of 30.4 ounces, and surprisingly, the Dan Wesson Vigil 1911 comes in at 32.8 ounces, so it is 2 ounces heavier than the P220 Legion. I wasn't expecting that. Brett Senior, what about you?
I thought they felt like they were close to the same weight, so I guess we were close.
Yeah, and that's another reason why we wanted to compare these two guns, you guys. Originally, I was thinking about us comparing the Dan Wesson Pointman PM45 to the Legion, but then when I realized, or thought about it, a stainless steel frame compared to an aluminum alloy frame, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And then, we thought about the Dan Wesson Vigil here, aluminum alloy frame versus aluminum alloy frame, coming in at around the same weight. It's a better comparison as far as comparing firearms, in our opinion, anyway. Either way, both these pistols did a great job absorbing recoil at the range as far as when we were shooting. We did notice, however, that the Dan Wesson Vigil, even though it does weigh 2 ounces more, the Vigil had more muzzle flip compared to the SIG 220 Legion, which is kind of surprising because, the SIG 220 Legion does have a higher bore axis, which is traditional in the SIG P-Series pistols, but it just is what it is.
You can see it in the video, guys. You can see that the Vigil has a little more rise to the muzzle of the pistol than the 220 Legion. I was a little surprised at that too. The Legion shot pretty damn flat. It does have a DPM guide rod in it though.
That's true.
And the DPM guide rods, as I've been telling you guys for a long time, make a big difference in the 40 and 45. That may be part of what's coming to play here. That may be part of what's keeping that pistol down. Anyway, we both noticed it. It was lighter recoiling and it stayed down for a faster follow-up shot, to both of our surprise a little bit.
Yeah.
Double action first round. Nice.
Alright, moving on, guys. Let's talk about the sights on both these two pistols here. The Dan Wesson has more minimalist style sights. You have a fully serrated rear sight to reduce glare and a tritium front night sight. So, very minimalist versus the SIG Legion having a 2 tritium vial rear sight. This is the SIG X-ray sights. Same as on like the P365 or the P320X Compact, etc. So you have a very high visibility front green night sight. Very high quality sights. I love the sights on this SIG P220 Legion.
All right, here we go.
Really great trigger control on that. Trigger is excellent.
All right, I wanted to cover the triggers real quick, a little bit more in depth. I'll try to make this fast because these videos tend to be a little bit long. All right, so here we are with the Vigil 1911. Got that much movement. It appears you're at the wall and it breaks. It is fantastic. Here's the reset. Immediate, it pushes out to it immediately. You're trying to put the brakes on it to slow it down. So you're right back at the wall again. Look at that. No creep, no movement. And it breaks. Fantastic trigger in the most cost-effective 1911 from Dan Wesson.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Nothing to complain about.
All 1911 triggers should be that way, but the bottom line is some of the 1911 triggers in the lower end 1911, slower than this pistol, they're not very good. They have problems.
Yeah, they leave a little bit to be desired. All right, SIG Legion P220. Double action. Heavy, consistent, all the way back. Heavy and consistent is the name of the day. Not bad at all. You have to make sure, do I want to shoot? Do I want to shoot? Yes, I do. Pull the trigger. Do I want to shoot? Yes. Okay, so that double action is your safety. I changed my mind. I'm off it. Holster. I want to shoot. First round, like that. Consecutive rounds after the first round. You're going to single action now. Wow. That's it. Back on the trigger now. No movement. I'm at the wall, guys. Little bit of pressure. And it breaks.
That Gray Gun's trigger really is amazing.
Again. Immediate reset. Back on the trigger. Tiny bit of movement and it breaks. Fantastic trigger. Double action, single action. I don't think you can ask for anything more than this double action, single action in the Legion pistols. They are fantastic.
Which trigger do you think is better in single action, the 1911 or the 220 Legion? I mean, I know it's kind of personal preference, but the reset, in my opinion, I mean, that 220, dude, that thing is just so freaking good.
I'll say when you're pulling them here on camera and you're really concentrating on trying to give your viewers and your subscribers a good look at the trigger pull, it appears that this one is superior. Even in, yes, it is a single action, and you get this in single action. Well, that's what I'm talking about right here. It looks like this one is superior. At the range, this thing was incredible.
Yeah, it was a tack driver.
This is another great 1911 trigger. This thing was incredible at the range. As far as trigger pull weight and stuff like that, guys, you're about 4 pounds here, and I don't know, 4.5 on this maybe when it's in single action.
Probably.
And probably about 10 pounds with that consistent long pull double action. So we talked about the long trigger pull, the consistent trigger pull on this SIG. It's about 10 pounds. When you get into single action, you're right back to around 4.5 to 5 pounds.
All I know is if you don't own a SIG Sauer Legion pistol yet, you guys, with this enhanced Gray Guns precision trigger, you really need to try one out because it is amazing.
Once you try one, you'll buy at least one, if not 2 or 3. It's just that kind of good. The 226s were absolutely excellent.
Okay, just takes a little getting used to. Shoots a little bit different than my 1911s.
Double action first round. Wow, very smooth double action. Amazing single action. Wow. Another E-lander. And last mag, 11 round Mechar mag.
This is a Chip McCormick 10 rounder. Let's see if it does better than the extended mags by Metgar, that old one I had. Good job, feeds. Very nice. Let's go ahead and try left-handed.
Here we go. $11-round Metgar mag. E-lander.
Alright guys, before we close the video, I did want to hit on one specific topic. The SIG Legion does come with 3 very high quality magazines. So I think all the SIG Legions are that way. I think all of them come with 3 mags. This 220 absolutely came with a 3 magazine. Your Dan Wesson comes with 2 very good quality Dan Wesson magazines. As you guys know, we have been testing 1911s for quite a long time. Over 3 years, and our box of test magazines are finally starting to give up the ghost. You're going to see that we had 3 malfunctions in this Vigil during the trip to the range. All of them seem to be magazine related problems. So we think our magazines, and we've seen a couple of them where the lips have spread too far. So we know they're giving up the ghost. We're going to replace those with a bunch of magazines from Wilson Combat. So you're going to be seeing that happen. You're going to be seeing that we're going to be putting in Wilson Combat mags a lot more. We do believe they make one of the best magazines in the world, and we're going to test that because we do a lot of shooting. So we'll see if they stand up to a 3-year or more test as we go forward here. So look for that. We're going to change to the Wilson Combat mags for all of our magazines when we're testing 1911s. We will include the magazines that the pistols come with also. So they're new magazines that come with the gun, plus our box of Wilson Combat mags that we're going to be using at the range. That's what's going to be happening in all the 1911 videos coming up in 2020. Alright guys, let's close this video up by talking about the price. The MSRP on this SIG Legion is $1,413, so $1,413. We typically see them somewhere around the $1,200 mark. So $1,250, $1,290, somewhere in there. So that's the MSRP and about the street price of this wonderful P220 Legion. As far as the Dan Wesson Vigil, it has an MSRP of $1,250. So again, this is kind of the start of their line from Dan Wesson in their excellent 1911 line. So you can't get much better than this when you're looking at around an $1,100 to $1,200 1911, and that's where the prices are on the street, it seems like. Right around $1,100, $1,150, $1,190. If you find it for less than $1,100, you're stealing it. Just make sure you fill out the paperwork. So that is relatively a small price to pay for the excellence that these 2 pistols are. And I know not everyone owns them, but if you want to reach and you want a goal to be set for 2020, that you want to have a top quality handgun in the 1911 line, the Dan Wessons are awesome. If you want a P-Series, I continue to say the Legions are the best. I own several of them. They're fantastic. If you've got a bunch of Glocks and HKs and everything else, maybe it's time to try something different. Give these 2 pistols a look. Alright, that's our opinion on the video. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube, Beretta 9mm USA, for more guns and gear videos coming up in the future. And remember, your Second Amendment is worth protecting.